Hello. Judge Napolitano has sources involved with Wethersfield police, with people from Syria, with people from Japan, people from South Korea, people from different countries. They have other police departments and retired Wethersfield police chiefs involved with them fabricating conversations with me since I was a kid, including with the news to hide their life progressions and their roles with former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and his co-defendants and their family members, with the ones I caught from other areas recorded on my street, tied to the ones with the police confessions regarding the name Colo. They didn't give the full name. A Bob Chase with Whiting Forensics gave the full name, Phil Colo. Phil Colo is further on my street involved with Whiting Forensics with predicate acts. I still haven't gotten them onto paper. They're leaking and pretending other. There are all kinds of delusions and natures of organized crime associated with them fabricating conversations into databases and then using that to get away with changing the value, lying about what they think the value of people when they speak. Like right here, I mentioned predicate acts to you. There are police and courts switching and forging names. With Judge Napolitano, and I've asked you guys plenty of times legitimately to respond for them illegitimately. They're switching names. They're refusing to identify themselves legitimately. So we're going to go into it because there are Russians and Ukrainian involved too, with Hartford Hospital, with people that were planting roles with untimely deaths on my street from other areas, and with the police switching and forging names in the courts. Judge Napolitano has these sources. There's a girlfriend of a Napolitano. I don't know her first name. I believe she might have been the girlfriend of a Ray Colo, who was one of the. Well, there's more than one Ray Colo next to me involved with this, with predicate acts, with various police forms since I was before they lived in that house. Another woman was reportedly the intimate tie of another retired police chief. And reportedly, the police chief Cintron, who is involved with the switching names, forging names, fake conversations with me and his officers through time, more and more. His daughter is reportedly intimately tied with a Mazzucato bakery. A Mazzucato bakery is involved with people from a modern pastry named Against Themselves, too. In other words, a Maiano family. People named Maiano are involved with judges and prosecutors and foreign and domestic families and campuses, leaders, child abusers of kids, including with houses and businesses next to Hartford Hospital, and as people involved with other hospitals next to them. Through time, there are a bunch of people next to Hartford Hospital. There's a girl who was reportedly dragged to her death and dropped off, from there and then dropped off dead at the corner of at the northeast corner of what is that? The northwest corner, the northwest corner of Goodwin Park. Mark Violet and Joshua Schumack have roles of predicate acts of Wethersfield Police. Facebook did with digital child offenders and names that went to my grammar school. They didn't even go to my grammar school. I'm pretty sure. In other words, I know Joshua Schumack. I know he didn't go to my grammar school. I mean, I never saw it. Anyway, they have roles of people in my grammar school. They came from other areas by themselves to make it look. It was a pattern of people that are connected by that. That's just a pattern. It was time use / estimate as federal evidence is crime acts and methods. So Connecticut courts, these are also people on and off and next to the state judicial branch offices who have predicate acts with facts methods roles. Also, they have some black KKK themed, Confederate flag themed, and Latino themed identity racketeering, switching names, forging names, and lying about the response. In other words, refusing to identify themselves. These are people on off the state Judicial branch officers also go involved with wire crimes in Wethersfield Pizza near them, who has roles with child defenders, leaders of kids, because they've been planting fake ties, fake natures of ties to people. I never had a conversation. The only sentence I ever had with a Josh, I don't even remember his name. I know his name from other people because his name was repeated to me. Steven Stocco. He's involved with Maria Pizzino, who sought me out after everyone in my grade. I never saw her on the campus of Wethersfield in my life. In other words, I didn't know who she was. Her name was repeated to me by a Mark Violet, who's involved with sequence shifts and military, involved with my neighbors who have wire crimes of Wethersfield police with them, and all along roads and routes, like Route 175. It has something to do with some KKK black themed, Latino themed, and people planting faked and changed actually recorded reality. All kinds of criminally foreign. These are people all leading up to the World Trade Center attack in that context and since. Mark Violet and others along Route 175 and its conjunctions too have people that know my name. I don't even know their name. In other words, they make a fake exception of me. No, I don't know them. In other words, and when the only time I context I know them, and they can't be honest, but they're recorded having been planting evidences with those contexts, consciously or offensively. They're being used remotely, criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw. I still haven't gotten a response from the principal child offender's confessions, and tied to other people involved with that, with him with worse, and with them with worse than that too. And also that might be connected to I don't know their name. They know my name. People near the corner of Knott Street and Walker Hill in Wethersfield, tied to a Chris Walters and phone companies with the agencies foreign and domestic. And these are also, he said that there's a Spada family involved with that. Ray Cololo also with Wethersfield Police with a people named Cololo and Walters, Chris Walters. I only know him seeking me out to record, confess, demonstrate, confirm, recorded predicate acts, criminally foreign influence roles with my neighbors. Ones I don't even know. I didn't hang around with them, the ones who hung around together. In other words, they try to make it look like people are groups or peers. They have criminally foreign influence readings of statutes. They have criminally foreign influence seatings of juries too recorded. As the people involved with the child sex offenders. They have all kinds of tricks. They have people, in other words, they had obligations to confess and not hide what I caught them self-valued roles with. Per the FBI director, too, in various natures of courts and their families and intimate ties before the World Trade Center attack. They were involved with Wethersfield people, involved with West Hartford locations through time. So, two different people with the name Joe DeMoro on two different, were involved on all sides of a community center in Wethersfield. And I don't know the name of the girl. Her friend tied to Joe DeMoro. It has something to do with the roles next to with names next to at, or just when driving by the corrections offices. All natures of investigators, where I used remotely criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw. So I can't get them on paper because they're not following mandated law with Wethersfield police. They also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed with their sources. They have a J. Salvatore. I never had a class with J. Salvatore in my life. He has something to do with people from Central Connecticut State University and on my street with the intelligence community, with the police forging and switching names, and fire departments planting evidence on all sides of my house, including they made smoke come through my chimney one day. And that was before the new neighbors moved in. Recently, there was confirmed there's a Inspector Mike with that. There's also a campus associated with Mike Delaferro. And he has a bunch of brothers that know my name. I don't know their names. One of them is involved with the spots along. They're involved with spots along Route 3, and like one of those little bars there. I don't know his name. He knows mine, but these are people involved with all kinds of evidences, crimes, and abuses of the same ones that were involved with the forced child abuser principal. They had ties to other forced principal. Leaders of kids, abusers of them, and they had time collusion use of their roles with the cliques with the elderly homes, and next to them, as one's near the state corrections offices too now, and the state um, veterans offices. See, this breaching method designed the suburbs. It designed houses before our founders were born, and with laws that I learned in notes with Central Connecticut State University, it was against the law to even be heard. If you heard someone speaking about building outside of the internationally monitored conversation, those same international conversations that were involved with entrenched slavery, sickly distinctly north and south through different countries, could have complete possession over all natures of positive and negative to keep from discernment how the breaching method does also. So it showed them needs to stay collusions with itself. So we have suits and ties, counters to it, and exceptions, still pretending they could speak about integrity. And they can't, and black pupils. They can't even afford to have the revelations that come with having black pupils white to eyes. And relative to the conversations regarding witch trials. Even the people that describe the witch trials, what they're about. They have staged criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions, wrought descriptions of what they're about. Exactly the way the breaching method employed. No matter who made up the witch trials, what extent they were made up. They're about that breaching method that was entrenched, distinctly north and south. To using functionally how sickly non-distinctly is left out by the identities of reason. They're going to spend the identities of expert, use their knowledge of good and evil to get over on everyone, to make themselves worth what they're not. We could have come, in other words, Ukrainian families have roles with Hartford Hospital, military, foreign, and domestic, with World Trade Center predicate acts. Judges and their family members speaking fake things in the records. Little sick fake punks in backgrounds putting fake behavior on people, fake words, fake ties to them and their family members. You should fear God now. For all this time, we've had these degenerate delusions wrought psychiatry roles with badges and ones with gavels speaking fake things in records and delusions raw too. No, because to an extent they don't even discern it until we get my paper because they came through sick campuses, and now that they're shown they need to self-value that sickly distinctly in the past from how now to keep discern from being discerned how sickly non-distinctly. I don't know John tomorrow. He sought me out to pretend other, make confessions about his roles with rapes, lonely context, and drugs with little kids on overt criminal enterprise, identity theft, fraud, slanders, and make fake exceptions of people. I only saw Joe DeMore on my campus one time in my life in fifth grade. Increasingly, people in my fourth grade class and sixth grade class were our collusions with people with body dumping spots and other natures of organized crime, and with people that put fake things in records rolls with Mayor Gold's family, and other people tied to mayors. That all has also have and had timed roles with Saudis. A former Mayor Gold has roles with the ILO and ILO's Kitchen. People associated with the ILO's Kitchen, tomorrow's Market, on the sides of near Hartford Hospital, or used to be there. I don't think tomorrow's Market, where it is now too, has roles with the DeMorrow family and a Mayano family, also intercities there through time, and their roles with federal evidence is crime, saying different and switching what they said at locations because they have been planting evidences with courts for the courts. A whole bunch of people tied to John Mayano, like Rick Cianfaglione. I didn't even know who John Lionel. His name was repeated to me, and then there was like one exception I mentioned. At the corner at a corner when I came into a cafeteria in high school. So he had educators. He must have done Scruff McGruff because Chicago, Illinois. It's recorded how they have roles with Connecticut's roles in World Trade Center predicate acts interstates as people from Washington, D.C. and people from New York City who are increasingly tied to the ones roles with connections between not just home break-ins in the area through time connected, but timed use /S of those roles. And the Wethersfield Police forging and switching names roles, with the courts doing the same. I've asked you many times to get them onto paper. So they're leaking because I try to keep the map part out, but that's what connects them. A whole bunch of people at Trinity College and Central Connecticut State University have roles with intelligence families next to them. And they've been collusions with the ones near me that have been collusion wire crimes with families at the Wethersfield Police Department and other police departments, but also on off the state corrections and judicial branch offices. And they have extended family members involved with more World Trade Center predicate acts interstates. People with the name Scalora, the Wethersfield Police, also recorded confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with their confessions regarding switching names and falsified police reports, identity theft, fraud, slanders. Get them on paper, one name and sequence with the retired police chiefs, plural, associated with 80 Carriageville Drive and the Smith family, because there are people with the Smith family who have roles with credible threats of violence and fabricating evidences into medical databases too, identity theft, fraud, slanders, with various natures of courts, personally and professionally, too. The prosecutors. There's a Brian Silver involved with the Leahy family that pretended through the mail that they had conversations with me. And Wethersfield police made confessions about that, but now they're forging and switching names and preventing writing. In other words, they put whole fake conversations through the mail. This is one of the packets they sent. I was on a response. I couldn't even get a response to myself. They've been attaching me and everyone around me to fake. In other words, to fake conversations about that I had with people that I don't even know about those conversations because they painted themselves in corners. So now they are leaking. Central Connecticut State University has a detective Samuda who's recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed involved with child sex offenders, overt criminal enterprises, private ones, and judge and former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, his co-defendants involved. In other words, he knows that's at least plausible. Otherwise, he's got delusions too that are relative. But he's got roles with the forging names and switching names, police forms, and courts intercities. There are East Hartford intelligence families that have been planting evidences in Wethersfield with West Hartford and New Britain intelligence families and police departments. These are also people associated with Mazzucato Bakery and Modern Pastry, associated with Maiano family and a Mazzucato. I don't know the Mazzucatos. I was only pleasant to them. In other words, and they're involved with faking and changing their nature of relationship to me, which is barely anything. With their per the police chiefs people, the retired police chiefs involved with child sex offenders with them, and the Jonathan Maiano who brought up Jessica Cintron into his confessions and demonstrations. So we need to get them on paper, one name and sequence. Also, these are more schools' roles of this, but there are also foreign bodies in criminal enterprises. So it's important to have them follow mandated law and stop leaking and pretending, they have directions to hide things. They self-value that to pretend it's only that. They were raised criminally foreign. Follow mandated law. Get me off the fake conversations with police forging and switching names. And with the news, they pretended through the news that I had conversations with the police as a kid and then as an adult that were fake. As an adult, I said a sentence to someone who was next to me that went there with me to a police station. They took my words with her and pretended I had a conversation with one of the Mendez brothers. These are people involved with some black Latino, KKK, and interreligious spots, nutbags with wire crimes, identity theft fraud, sequence shifts. Get them the fuck on paper. Excuse my language. Get them on paper now. Follow Medicare law. And I want a response for the principal child offender's confessions. And I want a response for the roles of the family members of the police chief Cintron and of the Leahy family with sexual and medical offenders of kids. Get them on paper with the Judge Killian speaking fake things in records too. Delusions are all with sick doctors involved with child sex offenders. Here, get them on paper. That's what nature tells them now.